Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. We're talking Johnny B. Bad. Is this the first time we've covered a Johnny B. Bad match?
It is not. It's also not the first Pillman match we've done, of course.
Hold on. Do we cover a Johnny B. Bad match? You're talking about Mark Marrow.
That's fair. You're right. Yep.
Okay, so that's what this character, this is the first one.
Friend of the Payoff. Yep, absolutely. And so Johnny B. Bad. Yep. Yeah, hey, it's time. And you know, when I was looking through these and trying to figure out, okay, like, and all of a sudden it was like a 30-minute match with Johnny B. Bad / Mark Marrow and Flying Brian Pillman. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's the only reaction I could have on this one. And so once I kind of saw it, like, I had to include it. And so been a while since we had a Pillman match. And so I think just kind of seeing him in his different eras is always kind of exciting for me too, the more we do this show. And then, yeah, like we said, it's just Johnny B. Bad time. Let's do this. How about you, man? What are you feeling?
I'm pumped to cover it, man. Two legends. In my book, 2 Hall of Famers. So
it really is. Yep.
I'm looking forward to this one. Did they ever induct Pillman in the Hall of Fame?
No,
I don't think so. Well, hopefully at some point, you know, they'll do it, and obviously his son can accept.
Yep.
And I think Marrow's a Hall of Famer too. So
both these guys, yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's get into the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
So interesting little setup here. For Fall Brawl, because we have a War Games match in the main event, which means we've got the TV set, you know, the rings for War Games like set up. So it'll be fun to watch this match and see how they use that setup. But we're September 17th, 1995, Fall Brawl 1995, Asheville, North Carolina, you know, relatively small city, but 6,600 fans, which is pretty impressive. For whatever reason, they had 4 dark matches, and I don't know if they filmed them for another show. They may have. But this was the first match on the card. And like you said, 29-minute match. So I'm really curious to see what they do. After this, Craig Pittman defeated Cobra in 1 minute. DDP defeated the Renegade to become TV champion in 8 minutes. The Renegade was obviously that Ultimate Warrior knockoff. We didn't have any matches on this show, by the way. Harlem Heat would win the tag titles in 16 minutes, defeating Bunkhouse Buck and Dick Slater. Arn Anderson defeated Ric Flair in a 22-minute match. That's fun.
Sure.
And then the main event, you ready for this one, Jeff? Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Lex Luger, and Sting. Now, that's a good team.
Yep.
Hard to believe they'd win or not be able to win against the Dungeon of Doom, which was Kamala, Zodiac, that was Brutus Beefcake, the Shark, who was, I'm almost positive, Earthquake, and then Meng. So quite the tag team, or quite the War Games match there. I cannot imagine it was good. It got 1.25 stars.
You are correct. That was the one and only John Tenta Earthquake, one of my favorites. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he wore like his Earthquake outfit, but it was a shark. So
yep.
You know what he would have said about that character? It was probably the most money he ever made. So
yeah,
he put up and put the stupid shark costume on.
Sometimes you just got to do it. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's it, man. Kind of a weird show. Storyline standpoint, how do we get to these two, man?
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting. There's kind of a little build on this one, and so you had Marrow. He was actually booked to beat at the time. It was Lord William Regal for the WCW World Television Championship. It's the previous Fall Brawl. I'll get it in September of '94. That was actually his first singles championship in WCW. So he had a couple defenses here. retaining over, back in the news, Honky Tonk Man, apparently going to lace up his boots again as well. Ric Flair bringing everybody out of retirement. And so Honky Tonk, I feel bad. I was like, man, I thought he had passed away, but dude's ready to lace him up. Like, and so going at that. And so they had actually a couple matches, Halloween Havoc and Clash of Champions 29. And so he actually was supposed to defend against Honky again, but ended up getting replaced by Arn Anderson because Honky Tonk left, and then Bad beat Arn Anderson on that one at that Starrcade of 94 to retain. And so actually just a week or two later, I ended up dropping the title actually to Arn Anderson. It was actually an episode of Main Event. Was not able to win it back at Clash of Champions. And so he really had just a lot of world television title matches up until this point, and then really just kind of mid-carded through most of 95 until we kind of get to this match. Pillman, on the other hand, like this was after the Hollywood Blondes separating, of course. I don't know what the other member of the Hollywood Blondes went on to do. We'll have to look that up. I'm not really sure if he ever made it, but the two of them kind of breaking up, of course. Pillman at this point, actually, it was a face a little bit. Him also going after the World Television Championship, kind of losing that one. They actually had a fairly decent 15-minute time limit draw back in April of 94 at Spring Stampede. He had a little bit of crossover here as well, too, with ECW as well, teaming with Shane Douglas after Austin got hurt. And so that was actually a match with Ron Simmons and Too Cold Scorpio. So kind of a little of that going. And so, and then actually he was gone for a little bit at the end of 94. And then back early 1995, he had the very short-lived California Brian character that was not around for very much. And so, but then getting into the kind of blurring the lines, just having a lot of different feuds with different people of Eddie Guerrero, Buff Bagwell, just kind of doing a lot of different stuff. And so he teamed with actually Arn Anderson and was feuding with Ric Flair. And so it's just kind of, all over the place. Of course, then the very first match, as we all know, on that Monday Nitro in Jushin Thunder Liger, it was actually a rematch. And so of that match. And so, kind of a lot of different things, but these guys really not a whole lot of story together and what was happening. They were both kind of just, Mero had the title. I guess you could say like there was a period where, Pillman was, going after Regal and the World Television Championship too. And so maybe you could say there was a little bit of crossover there, but not a ton, but that's okay. I guess, with this one, there was some, the titles. And so we'll just kind of take that for what it is. And get into this one, opening up the card on this one. Let's see if it stacks up. Of course, if it's better than Owen Brett opening, we'll kind of see what happens there, and which match takes the cake here. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, 6-minute mark, Fall Brawl 1995. I'm excited to cover this one, man. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know what direction this is going to go, but it's the best match on the card of the evening at Fall Brawl 95. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens here.
Season 3, Episode 1, Fall Brawl 1995, 6-minute mark. Jeff, are you ready?
Let's do this, man.
All right. It's time for the payoff.
Oh, it's time for the payoff.
Interesting that they are more in favor of Johnny B. Bad.
All right, here we go. They got the Bruce Buffer treatment on this one. I don't know if they did it for every match or if they just did it for
a former boxing gold
championship matches or what. But they got the whole run up to this.
World Television Champion.
Not what I was expecting.
Bad Man presenting.
Bad looking good though. Good shape.
Tell you, no question who
He's a hell of an athlete.
Here for the fans in the Asheville Civic Center. They are jammed to the rafters, as you can see, high above the battleground. That will lower on these two rings. The bell sounds. 1 fall, 20 minutes. The winner to meet Sting for the United States Heavyweight Championship.
So winner gets Sting.
There you go. Okay.
So this show, as you can probably imagine, 25% thumbs up, 34% thumbs down, 40% thumbs in the middle. This was the best match as voted on by readers of The Observer. Flair Anderson was second.
There's a lot when that's your, that's what your best is on this card. Not a great overall showing for WCW on this one.
Now, keep in mind what else is in the backdrop of this event was this is the beginning of the Monday Night Wars.
A good point. Yep, absolutely.
So it was funny. Meltzer called them the quote unquote Monday Wars. So that term was used from the very, very beginning, which I don't remember it being used or not being used, but I thought that was kind of funny.
Interesting. Yeah. All right, out of the gate. Kind of methodical to start. Can I just comment on Mero's hair for a minute here? Like that, I would
Please, go ahead.
I would kill to have just flowing locks like that. Like it's almost funny. It's almost more Brian Pillman Jr. in his look than his dad's look is at this point. And so kind of out there though, looking good though. I'm a fan of Johnny B on this one.
Yeah, both of them have some. Yeah, you're right. It does.
Kind of, I say not a slow, methodical start. The best way to look at it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're kind of cruiserweights. They're not really, but they're. It looks like they're wrestling a cruiserweight style match.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
What'd you think of that WCW logo in the middle of the ring?
I was a fan. Show it off, man. That's all right with that. Or nowadays, kind of, reminds you a little bit more of the UFC and stuff like that, like putting it there. And so, it's all about the presentation. We've talked about that before on the show, like, just kind of standing out a little bit, whether it's the electronic boards on the rings or something like that, or just kind of, what's happening anymore. Like sometimes you can telegraph the, none of us could have telegraphed the tractor, but, you always like, we're going to get a ring spot or something like that. If there's no electronic boards on the ring itself, I got one buddy that is like catnip to him. Like he spots it every single time. He's like, we're going to get a ring spot. Like something's going to happen. He did not spot that. None of us really expected that ring spot, which was kind of funny. I did appreciate the story after the fact that, who knows what the truth is to it or not, but Brock never actually they didn't test that spot exactly with Brock. Like they did it once with like an operator, but it wasn't Brock that actually did that spot. He just he used his farming knowledge and just picked up the ring like, the beast that he is. Like that was that. So again, we got some kind of, and not rest holds at this point, just kind of some methodical, some holds here on this point.
I got another fun one for you.
Go for it.
So this was this show, okay, I believe was the day after Steve Austin got fired from WCW.
Have to look.
WCW fired Steve. I just can't remember what the date of the show was, but Steve Austin fired on September 15th.
And this was September 17th.
Okay, so 15th. Austin, 30, was considered for years as perhaps the best young wrestler in the U.S. His career languished for the past year, almost to the point that he was spoken of, like his former tag partner Brian Pillman, as a wrestler who made a lot of money by signing good contracts, but had great careers ruined by a WCW organization that had been both unwilling and unable to get any wrestlers over. Austin had been in the doghouse with WCW management over the past year over a reputation for not exactly keeping quiet with his discontent about how he was used, and for those involved in cost cutting, seeing the $200,000 or so figure he was earning per year, not being involved in any significant programs, wasted money. By the way, I mean, I'm trying to read this, but I don't know. His writing is just so bad. While
some of them are real bad.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I'm just trying to read it. While on a tour with New Japan in June, Austin tore his tricep and has been out of action since, and was believed to be about 6 weeks from being ready to return when he was fired. This, of course, paints WCW as a world-class organization for firing a guy while injured when he suffered the injury on a tour the company sent him on. Austin's main problem appeared to be in the cliquish nature of WCW, which is consistent not only in wrestling but in most jobs, but worse in WCW than most places, obviously. That's a sentence. He didn't hang with the right crowd. When the Hogan camp got into power, they dismissed Austin as a highly paid wrestler who was a good worker with no charisma, and in their view of wrestling, work rate meant next to nothing. The Hogan clique basically consisted of WWFers from the mid-'80s. Could dismiss any wrestler came along. So wasn't in Flair's clique, so nobody spoke about his work rate. Austin was given little chance to show his stuff. So he's really defending Austin here pretty good. I mean,
I agree.
We've seen him, but yeah, it's interesting.
Thank goodness. I guess you could say that Austin went on to do something. I think he made the most of his career. That's the best you could say. He did all right for himself. So yeah, absolutely. So these guys, and so you kind of wonder like how much of that was on Pillman's mind at this time as well too. Eventually, a little spoiler here, he's obviously going to leave WCW, it's just some drama, if you will. And so there's that. And so, these guys kind of working very methodical is the only word I could think of here. He did have a Hurricane Rana out of Pillman at this point. And so, but both guys, they've got a split open marrow. It looks
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Johnny B, a little bit of blood there. And so, it's split open a little bit. Now that I'm thinking, they kind of keep the camera. They'll get a whole lot of close up on this one at this point. So, because obviously they going the hard way on this. And so kind of checking.
So they were talking about the buy rate of this one and how, it was down, or it was projected to be down. And during this era, Hulk Hogan got 25% of the pay-per-view buy rate. That certainly could add up.
Absolutely. Which is crazy. Yeah. At this point, I think, now it's easy to see in retrospect too, like just the power he had in WCW and kind of what was happening. So here we go. Kind of good mat wrestling at this point. Both these guys, I don't really think of Mero as like this technical mat wrestler, but these guys are really kind of putting it in.
Oh yeah. So the show opened with, Hogan coming in a motorcycle, and then the Giant drives up in a Dungeon of Doom monster truck and ran over it. So that's how we got to that monster truck battle with him and Hogan and Halloween Havoc.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Right. Yeah. Who knows, man? Sometimes I will say too.
Are we ever going to watch that? Is that fall in the infamous category?
I will put it on the list just for you, buddy. Like that's one. Let's get some fan requests out there for that one. And so, hey, once again, let's just get some fan requests for some matches again as well too. It's always good stuff. Not utilizing the second ring. I know you made a comment before this one started. They are. Well, both rings are kind of set up and. I kind of half expected this. They are just kind of really staying in the one ring for the presentation on this one.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what they do.
Working hard, though. Yep, absolutely.
Still a while to go here.
So I'll talk about it. Where would Pillman be nowadays? Like, do you think that, what direction do you think his career would have gone? Would he... something crazy? Would he have been fired by WWE for the antics? Like, would he have been a member of DX? Like, I guess what fantasy book? Where do you think he could have been one day? An Austin rematch or match?
Pillman feels to me like the type of guy that could have been a hell of a trainer in the Performance Center.
I was thinking that. I was thinking the same thing for Mero.
Yeah, for completely different reasons, but some of these guys, I just feel like they could be such an asset. I mean, Pillman could have been a great mouthpiece and backstage trainer. I mean, even if he couldn't wrestle again, I got to think there would have been a role for him.
I could see. I hope, and we haven't talked about this, that they bring back a little bit more of the black and gold NXT. Versus kind of what they have now. I think with Shawn and Triple H kind of running the show, just doing that, I really think you could see some big things happening. It's just it'll be interesting to see. I forget who it was recently. Somebody actually spoke highly of the Performance Center. Of they get a lot of. We talk a lot of shit about them. Training people the same way, so a lot of times you get the same product. But on the flip side to that, they're training them the same way, but they're training them properly. And you're not getting some of these mistakes that you might see otherwise. There's always going to be, kind of a mess up or something like that. But a lot of these people that are in there, they are getting the proper training like they should. And so right out of the gate, kind of, this is would you rather have the player that's, played 10 seasons and is kind of stuck in its way, or would you rather have the rookie that you can kind of shape and mold? And so something to be said for both, and you need a balance on that. But I think even just, I wish we'd hear more stories about like somebody doing like a guest stint coaching in the performance center, or, kind of working with some of these people behind the scenes of, just the pairings themselves of putting, I can't talk highly enough about a stable around here, but like putting some of these guys like, in a stable, even Sting and Darby Allin still, like that's going over well. Like a lot of these people, it's going over.
How long has that been? 2 years, 2.5, 3 years?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I still enjoy it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, just really good stuff happening with that. And so I wonder, like putting, Pillman, like, some of the crazy loose cannon type stuff, like doing some of that with some of these people. Who knows? Sky's kind of the limit and stuff like that. I wonder too, I said at the very end there, do you think would we have gotten a Austin Pillman match? I don't know if it would have been good necessarily. I think it might have been good. I don't think it would have been great.
Well, two things. First of all, Pillman, physically was just shot, so it probably wouldn't have been good. I don't even know who the baby face would have been, so that would have been kind of confusing.
Right.
And, I doubt, knowing WWE, I doubt they would have, they certainly wouldn't have had the footage from those two tagging together, but they may not have even mentioned it. So, it's like, if you didn't know about the Hollywood Blondes, then I don't know how much it would have really mattered.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe it might have just been for them. They really wanted to have the match. Who knows? But that's all valid points. Yeah, absolutely.
So Mero's last match was a tag match at something called World Wrestling Legends, the reunion.
What year was that?
2006.
Okay. Yep. He's had a very lucrative, successful career, if you will, since then. Absolutely.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this card?
Go for it.
Jim Duggan defeating Nikolai Volkov in a minute.
Oof.
Rick Steiner defeating Virgil in a minute. Coco Beware defeating Disco Inferno in 4 minutes.
Great.
Jimmy Snuka defeating Greg Valentine by DQ in 7 minutes.
Interesting. Okay.
Vampiro defeating Eddie Colon. Jake Roberts defeating Kamala by DQ in 7 minutes.
Boy, that's a ticket seller right there.
Dory Funk Jr. and Mike Graham, accompanied by Bruno Sammartino, defeating David Flair and Tully Blanchard with J.J. Dillon. DDP defeating Canyon. Bob, Brad, and Scott Armstrong, accompanied by Bobby Heenan, defeating the Midnight Express, accompanied by Jim Cornette. And then your main event is Scott Steiner defeating Buff Bagwell.
Didn't expect that to be the main event, but there you go, man. Like that.
Wow.
Ticket seller right there. Interesting people on the card. You can tell it's just kind of stacked weird, but sure, I guess. Hey, if that's what you're into, like, sure. Hey, interesting. These guys working stiff on this one. You kind of leapfrogging each other, but then kind of like jumping into each other, and so kind of working hard. Mero kind of selling it at this point, or bad selling it at this point. So yeah, just working real stiff though. Both guys laid out now. Just no flying Brian really. I don't think he's climbed the ropes once, and so we kind of stayed mostly in the ring as well too. But yeah, both guys kind of getting counted for the 10 now. Yep. Oh, and I totally forgot to bring it up because it's WCW. We didn't talk about it last week. Do you feel more comfortable crying now that Macho Man said you could? How do you feel about Macho Man saying, "Hey, you know what? Everybody cries."
I don't know how that clip had never resurfaced prior.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
How did that just get out?
It was randomly on Reddit, man. Like, so if you don't know what we're talking about, it's on the old talk show, the Arsenio Hall show, and him asking, does the Macho Man cry? Oh, yeah, just You know, and it was a great little just promo of like, sometimes you got to take the 8 count and get back up. Like, it was just very good, very well done. The other one too, we've talked about, you sent it to me, was the epilogue, if you will, to the Flair last match video. And just like, that was fucking incredible. Like that video as well too. And so a lot of good stuff. I almost felt like they had a WWE production guy was doing some of the work on that one behind the scenes, because that was very good. You got a suplex kind of, okay. Be Bad taking Pillman to the outside and then kind of doing a crossbody, jumping over that top rope. Both guys on the outside now. Again, just working hard.
You got your outside action.
And then go for the cover or the submission. Nothing's going to happen on the floor except
crowd seems a little tame or a little subdued.
I think Johnny B. Bad has had a little resurgence here, a little second wind, if you will. He is up on top. He gets drop kick right in the chin.
Now Brian's got to get up and he's got to get on top of him.
Crowd pop for that.
That was an incredible move and great timing on Flying Brian, who lays on him and gets a 2 only.
Close.
This was rated the best match of Mero's career.
Was it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just ahead of the Austin match at King of the Ring.
Yep, makes sense.
We'll sit down powerbomb. And these guys are just leaving it all out there.
They're working,
match for 95.
Working out. We're both just kind of locked into it at this point. This is kind of turned into, I didn't know what this was going to be, but oh man, kind of Mero ran up to him and Pillman got him up for a pile driver on that
Tombstone pile driver.
Yeah. Gotta wonder too, like this is one too, like you wonder these guys just that they say, hey, let's just go out and have a 30-minute just let's fill the time, let's do what we do best type situation here. Oh, interesting reversal there. Pillman was up on the top looking for, I'm not sure what it was, DDT or something like that. And Bad just kind of threw him off the top rope there, just kind of aggressive as hell.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny B. Bad, he was marked, well, I guess he had another probably 6 months to go, and then he'd be in WWE.
Yep.
Austin was on his way.
Pillman was on his way.
Vader was on his way.
Yep.
Vader was still in WCW at the time, so pretty wild, man. A lot of movement. Lex Luger just jumped from WWF to WCW.
To WCW, yep. That was one of the few clips I saw is like now, and there's some interesting little submission there, kind of getting Mero. Luger said apparently it was Luger said it was a situation where his contract just kind of ran out. Like nobody's paying any attention, and so he just said, "All right, see you later." And so he let it expire, and then he was gone over to WCW. And so, we've heard some stories about that happening every once in a while. Like, recently, who was it? Like Aleister Black or something like that. Like they forget that they're a wrestler, and the contract expires. And Luger, it's being disputed now, but Luger's the one who's like, "Yeah, just nobody paying attention. I just got out of there." And so, yeah, always fun to see how that kind of plays out.
Submission here. I mean, these guys are probably exhausted.
Just kind of locked in the ring, at this point. So
been going at it for 18 minutes.
Yeah, at this point, quite a bit. Yeah. So we still got quite a bit on this match too. I'm actually surprised. This is
they gave him 30 minutes.
Yeah, just kind of working hard though. Yep.
Still fascinated by this World Wrestling Legends pay-per-view. There's more of those that have happened that we just don't remember. Every time I see one of those, I always put up on YouTube and watch like a minute. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible.
Just gotta see what's happening. Yeah, like the low quality. Yeah. It's always the grainy videos. Yep. Big punch there by Mero. Big clothesline then by Pillman. Yeah.
Hey, have you been on Wrestling Inc. lately?
That's one of my go-tos. Yeah, that I will.
You notice they changed their layout a few weeks ago?
Hate it.
It's horrible, right?
Hate it. Yes, and so
it's terrible.
There was
and I love them. That's my go-to.
That one, that's one. If I've ever got some downtime, I will check that one. And the cage side seats is one I'll kind of check out as well too. What do we got here? We got
Your attention, please. Referee Nick Patrick has been authorized to go to a sudden death. The WCW Board of Directors must have a winner for the mandatory challenger. We go to sudden death overtime.
I never heard of this before.
How about that?
First things happen. First time I've ever heard that happen in wrestling.
So, yep. And I'd forgotten until we just got to right here. So this was they hit the time limit of 20 minutes. And so we're now going to continue again, like we just heard, getting an overtime, sudden death until we get a winner.
And your feelings on time limits?
Done well, I'm all about it. And so
is AEW still doing them?
They do. I think they needed to. There was a while there where they would announce it and you couldn't really hear it well, over the crowd noise or something like that. I feel like they've gotten away from it quite a bit, but I do think that like saying, hey, 30-minute time limit, you can tell a story in that time. I think that if done properly, I've seen it. New Japan does it a lot and they have a better presentation of it. And I think that if it's done well, it's used in the story, it makes a lot of sense. Like these guys have just had a really good match. So for me, it makes a ton of sense. I think that again, like even like a 60-minute or something like that, like it's a long time to go, but it does make a lot of sense of kind of what's happening. There's that double drop kick again. Now this time coming the other direction of bad hitting Pillman. Yeah. So yes, short answer is I'm a fan if it's done right.
I don't know why you wouldn't do it. Like I love the idea of it.
Right. I hope that there's little things that like Triple H starts kind of bringing back. Be it like just letting them say like like one fall, like, the crowd yelling one fall after the announcer says something, or just, there's all kinds of little presentations that Vince shit all over that we didn't get. And then now I think maybe we could have them back and actually enjoy them a little bit more. Yeah. Got a sleeper hold here now. Pillman on bad, taking him down to the mat, kind of wrapping him up as well too. A lot of just technical wrestling here. This is, like I said, this has been very interesting to watch it play out and kind of what's happening and stuff like that. Checking the arm. Nope. Getting that second win. There we go.
Bad. You see his eyes are open. He is to the ropes. That gets the break. He's trying to fight for his knees, but Brian will not let him get up. Finally, he's up. Oh, what a match. He sends him into the ropes, and he's going to sleep.
Not a sleeper going the other way.
Night for Mr. Pillman now.
It is sudden death.
Fans seem to be into it a little bit more.
Belly back counter out of the.
It's a hell of a match.
A lot of good psychology here. Yeah, like kind of both guys going for the sleeper here, like just kind of how it's playing out. I'm far more into this than I was at the start.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Pillman's not in the Hall of Fame. But I know that they try to, only select one person a year that's.
Well, and this kind of raises. I know we don't have a ton. Like what wrestlers not in the Hall should go in next?
Wow.
So your early predictions here, yeah.
Well, I think it's too early for Vince. I still think we're a couple years off from that. But,
yeah, and we discussed that off the air. That's why I asked. Yeah.
I still think we're a little too early for that. You got to start with. Well, I was gonna say you got to start with the headliner. So
that man.
2 and
Man, good match.
I know who it should be in Hollywood.
You think it should be The Rock?
Absolutely.
Especially if he doesn't wrestle. It's like if he can't give him a match, if they can't give him a match, then says, hey, let's build the weekend around you. Let's still have you there Saturday and Sunday. Accept the award. Show up both nights. You almost put him in that Austin role where you get him on both shows,
I think like The Rock makes a ton of sense. I think like there's some that like Owen, it won't happen. I think AEW's kind of got that, where they won't allow it, or Martha won't allow it.
Tony won't let Martha out of his grasp.
Right. I think like Ray, maybe, but I think he's still wrestling. So I don't think there's a good argument there for him. Do you give Lex the push here? Like, is Lex?
Remember they still have Batista.
That's true. Yeah. Because he
wanted to be in front of fans.
Yeah. He wanted to be in front of fans.
He could be one.
Yeah. That's, I mean, Pillman. Yeah. That's just,
he got the shoulder up.
Oh, this is a hell of a match. Yeah, maybe Batista's the one. Obviously, good relationship with Triple H, so maybe they have him headline in Hollywood.
Because the other option is Cena. Like, do you have him do a last hurrah match and then induct him?
Yeah,
like
Cena, they'll probably hold on to. Luger, I'd love to see. Psycho Sid, I'd love to see.
For me too, like Bulldog.
They did Bulldog.
British Bulldog's there?
Yes, his son now accepted for him.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Couldn't remember that.
Forget those ones that were, they did like 2 of them or whatever that were, or I guess they did 2 years and 1 that were.
That's right. That's right.
Kind of sucked. That would be, that could be interesting. They have some good ones. I'll tell you, I'll say that there were 2, I thought, and I know we've talked about it, but like I thought the way that Austin was used at WrestleMania. Wow. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I think maybe Flying Brian's teeth ended up in the front row somewhere.
Now he's going to look like everybody else here in Asheville and Johnson City.
Great. So good.
Oh, man.
But no, Austin was used flawlessly, and having him come back out on the second night was incredible.
Yeah.
Look, I thought the Flair thing was. I really enjoyed it. It was what it was, but man, it was pretty damn cool. So, my point is that there's still creative ways, between cinematic matches and, I don't know how many.
Got the knees up.
We're going to go into double overtime.
Can you believe what we're seeing?
Double sudden death.
Each man is countered each man's best move. 2, and it's not over.
Close.
I'm going to send out for some pillows and a bedroll. We're going to be here all night.
We've seen Flying Brian's top rope maneuver. We have seen his middle rope bulldog. We have seen the Tutti Frutti, the bad mood, the bad day, and they are still going at it. The winner to get Sting and the U.S. title shot.
Jeff, my point was just that, there's creative
Johnny
ways to
B.
use that
Bad
guy's final match,
finds himself out on the floor.
I don't know.
These 2 guys going to be sore tomorrow.
Well, you're not
It's funny. Everyone's like,
Man's
who
got
else
a
is going to
grip
have
on the outside.
Ric
Here
Flair's
comes
Ric Flair.
Flying Brian.
He didn't get him good. He took the worst of it.
I think you're right.
But, Ric Flair's Ric Flair. So who else could you do that for, what they did for Flair?
Oh, yeah.
No one. I mean, I'd say, maybe Hogan, but, man.
I don't think Hogan would want to do it that way. Right now. Yeah, I don't think he'd want to do it that way either. And so, I think I think a lot of it is like going out for a lot of these guys, it's going out on their own terms of like, you've got, the
blueprint for Flair, though, like the way they did it.
Where the people are standing, stopping
the match, couple moves.
On a match like this.
Oh, they've given it a call. Give both men
maybe a little bit more water next time. Ooh, don't see that every day.
Once again, going to the rope, and that may have ended it. He falls in. 1, 2.
Hey. No.
No, I tell you, Johnny B. Bad's feet were underneath the rope. So Nick Patrick stopped the count before the 3. Missed the clothesline. Again.
This is high speed here.
Oh,
man.
There's 1, 2, 3.
Whoa, there it is.
He's
so they ran the ropes and they kind of ran into each other, but Bad ended up on top and got the win. Did not expect that, but all right.
That was a hell of a match.
That was crazy.
And a really wild finish. Huh.
30-minute, yeah.
All right, well, let's get into the aftermath.
Oh, it's time for the aftermath.
Man,
What'd you think, man?
Whew, it made sense. Man, they're showing this again. They are full speed. Oh man, just brutal. By the end here, and just showing it slow, like, oh man, that hurt like hell. Yeah, this was really, as I say in a lot of New Japan, like sometimes you just got to get cooking and it takes a little bit of time. Like, man, once they were cooking, that was it. Like they were really putting on a good show here. Surprised, man. It really surprised here. So, yeah, kind of, what's happening after this point. So you had the title shot. It was supposed to be against Sting, but Sting had been attacked by DDP. And so Bad actually faced DDP, who he won the title or the television title from DDP at Halloween Havoc. And so, and then you had him defending it again at World War III, the first one. And this was the kind of story that Mero did not like, with him winning like the valet services of Kimberly. And so the two of them kind of feuding for quite a bit there. And so Bad, retaining, it was actually Super Brawl in February of 96, and then losing it to Lex Luger and then winning it literally the next night. And then losing the title again to Luger a couple of weeks later. And so really just, and Page had got interfered in that one. So really just a lot of back and forth with these guys, him and Page. And kind of dealing with that. And so it was actually that March 9th, 1996 episode of Saturday Night. It was his last appearance on WCW because, like I said, he really did not like the angle that he was dealing with or being a part of. He just really didn't like a lot of the direction of what was happening and stuff like that. So then Pillman at this point, again, this is when he started to develop the loose cannon. And so kind of get a little, just, we all know what it is. And so getting rid of the Hollywood blonde look and kind of dealing with that. And so you had him, of course, we had the match with Eddie Guerrero at Clash of Champions where he grabbed Heenan. You had the live on air, what the fuck are you doing? And so, just kind of all that, him outing Kelvin Sullivan as the booker. So him really trying to blur the lines on some of this was what we started getting. And so, and of course the story, who knows what to believe of him asking to legitimately be fired in order for the storyline to play out. But then he did actually get fired and Bischoff did it. And then he left and went to WWE. So, just kind of crazy, no other way to describe it. So, this one you had for PWI for 1995, you had Johnny B was 57. Pillman was 61. A great match with excellent pacing, or this is the torch. A great match with excellent pacing, excellent use of time to build an internally logical storyline, and lots of good moves and high spots. Not only a great opener, it could have passed as a very good main event, 4.25 stars. The most satisfying match was the opener with Pillman and Bad really putting out in a match that made sense, told a story that was given time to build and develop to a real finish. They really built that overtime period with all those near falls. Not that this is saying much, but this is the best match of Johnny B. Bad's career. The Observer newsletter on this one said, to me, this show was average. It was better than it looked on paper, largely because both Pillman and Johnny B and Dallas and Renegade were a lot better than they figured to be 4 stars. So 4.25. Tom, what is your payoff score?
Man, I'm going to give this a 7.5. Really, really good match. I mean, maybe a little long, it took a little while to get cooking, but the ending was fantastic. And, who doesn't love both these guys? And, kind of just went at it for 30 minutes, and I loved it, man. I thought it was really good. I mean, all-time classic, no, but best wrestling match of Mero's career, yes. One of the best of Pillman's, probably as well. What about you?
I'm going to give it an 8, actually, only because I was surprised by how much I enjoyed the match. I'm very much if you tell a good story in the ring, you put on just a solid wrestling match. And I think that's exactly what these guys did. It was a very solid match. They told just a great story. You had the time limit stuff. And so I think for me, it just worked. It clicked with me. This is one that, I'm almost half tempted, and I'll even kind of say it like if you're looking for just an interesting match to go back and kind of watch, like this is an interesting one. I think they, just kind of that in-ring kind of storytelling, they really did a good job there. And so I'm a fan of this one more so than expected. I was definitely sports entertained. I was actually wrestling entertained on this one. It wasn't even a kind of a sporting entertainment. That was just a good match to me.
Yeah, this kind of falls in that category of like, hey, you've probably never seen this match before. You may have not even heard of it, but if you got a half hour to kill and you want to watch some wrestling, this is one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good stuff though, all around.
Cool. Well, what do we have coming up next?
What do we have coming up next, my friend? So
how about why don't you plug our shit and then I'll talk about what
I'll talk about for a minute. So I'll start with, we haven't said it in a while. Let's drop us some star ratings ourselves on the wherever you're listening to us, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all that good stuff. Let's get our rating back up here. It's already high, but hey, it's been a while, so we'll just let everybody know. Like, drop us 5 stars. We deserve it as well too. And then along with that, of course, as we always say, like as the colder months are approaching, we're all going to be inside a little bit more here. Like, let's make sure we're still taking care of ourselves. We're going to Manscaped. We're using all their different lines of products to take care of ourselves, whether it's, trimming up the man garden, whether it's smelling good, whatever you're trying to do, go to manscaped.com and use that promo code payoff20, gets you free shipping, gets you 20% off anything that they have available. Just use it at checkout, saves you a ton. It's absolutely worth it. Promo code payoff20 at manscaped.com.
Yeah, and the big takeaway here is that this isn't something that you just do in the summer. It's not something you just do the week you're going to the beach. But to really be effective, this needs to be something you commit to 52 weeks out of the year. And that's what we're really trying to help you to do, is building a strong manscaping habit, not just doing it, once or twice a year or before a big vacation.
5-10 minutes.
Turning it into a jungle the rest of the time.
It takes me no more than once a week, no more than 10 minutes. And that's it. Like, and I'm feeling good and better about my life.
And
so what do we got?
Happy wife, happy life.
It's right. Hey, you know what? I haven't heard a complaint, and so it's time to get her. I feel like my little trimmer kit's better than hers, and so she probably wouldn't disagree, but that's okay. So
obviously behind the scenes here, I fill the comment box with some matches I want to see, but you make the calls, and I will tell you that the next 3 matches you chose are awesome. Now, I don't think it's going to be a 5-star classic, but I'm excited to cover next week NWO Hollywood versus NWO Wolfpack. I'm sorry, the 2 of them against Team WCW. So that's going to be a War Games match, I'm assuming.
Yep.
That should be a lot of fun. So I'm excited to cover that. Then we're going to cover one of my favorite matches.
I know you're excited for this. This is for you, buddy. Yep.
The only reason it's not a 5-star match is because the finish kind of sucked.
Yep.
Mankind, Shawn Michaels, Mind Games.
Yep.
And then I feel like this is going to be a really, really good match. Yep. We got TNA Tag Team Championship match from No Surrender 2006. AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels against LAX. I bet that match is awesome.
We got a good September plan. We got a great October planned as well too. I got some good stuff. We got another Pillman match in there. We're gonna watch the Lost Tape as well too. We've got that one. Since it's on the network, we're going to go. The rising star of Tom McGee, and so we may have that one on the list. We'll see what happens, and so I've got it all mapped out. Even into November, we might be seeing some Sean action again too. We got some Steamboat action as well too in the future here. A lot of Steamboat. I don't know why I managed to do that, but that's okay. That's good stuff. But yeah, we got we're not going anywhere. We got exciting stuff to wrap up the year. We still got a couple months, but we're plowing through here. We're grinding.
Well, I'm excited.
Send him home happy, my friend.
All right. Well, we appreciate the support. Give us those 5 stars. It always helps. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next week on an all-new episode of The Payoff.